Welcome back to the show, everybody. Are we going back on the gold standard? There's more news coming out of Russia, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting serious. And what does it mean that we're watching the globe move towards crypto regulation in a new framework? I've got something you need to see. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $913 billion market cap for crypto. We're up 1.5%. Good afternoon, everybody. Bitcoin just over $18,000 right now. Ethereum 1,300 plus. The Tether market cap right now is at 66.2. It was at 68.7 yesterday. So keep an eye on that. We got the watch alert going on. XRP 39 cents right now currently. If you haven't done it, check out my sponsor, Glint. I tell you, I was a customer first, and I absolutely love this, and I need to do another top off. I'm trying to get my portfolio diversified, and by diversified, I don't mean spread out investing in different assets in the same asset class. What I mean is that I'm invested in crypto. I'm invested in gold. I'm invested in fine art. I'm invested into private equity. That's real diversification to me at my house. And gold helps me do that as well. And I love it. And if you check this out for yourself, you will love it too. It is physically allocated gold. It is not paper gold. Yes, you can have it delivered, the whole bit. But I tell you what, you can also get a MasterCard debit card and be able to spend your gold in a time of uncertainty should you need to. And we may be headed for that. Right now, this is breaking from Erica Marsh, who says prominent attorneys are investigating whether Elon Musk lied on his application for U.S. citizenship. Oh, boy. If it shows that he lied anywhere on the application, it is likely he could be stripped of his U.S. citizenship and deported. It says, I say here, tell us you're scared of Elon Musk and freedom of speech without saying it directly. Don't let them take our voice away. We just got it back. Boy, are they really scared of anybody who is working for the people to restore the power back to them. Boy, if you don't understand this, to know that this is mainstream media, very scared and very upset that someone else with a huge platform can be able to allow the people to inform themselves, feels very scary to the mainstream media, and they'll do everything they can to demonize Elon or anyone else who stands in their way. That's how I feel about it. Coinbase confirms it will distribute Flare tokens to XRP holders. If I had not covered this, I want to make sure that that is fantastic news. I waited a day or two. I wanted to make sure that that was absolutely solid. It does appear to be so. Look, I had questions early on about what the tax implications for Flare are. I still don't know what that answer is, but I've always been excited and have told Hugo Filion himself last summer that I am very cautiously optimistic about what is to come for Flare. It is not an endorsement from me, but I do sit back and think to myself, you know, if they get Flare right, this is going to be remarkable, because if they get it right and it really is protected where you're not going to lose your assets and you don't run the risk of what we've seen happen on other platforms, and I tell you this, it will be very exciting to see what happens with Flare. And I'm cautiously optimistic about it. And we will see. I mean, the idea of being able to stake your assets and not have to sell them is a pretty enticing concept. All right, so here we go. This is Denelle Dixon right here, and she is talking about the FTX debacle. I want you to hear the analogy very quickly, because Denelle Dixon is no joke now. She was former COO of Mozilla. She's been here. She knows what you're supposed to have in a corporate structure. Listen to what she says very quickly.
Also joining us out of Washington, D.C. is Nathan Dean, Bloomberg Intelligence Senior U.S. Policy Analyst. Denelle, let me start with you and ask what you think this situation means we need. Is it more regulation? Because a lot of this happened what would appear to be outside of the SEC jurisdiction, and a lot of the crimes that have been committed, at least what looks like those crimes, how John J. Ray described them, are already illegal.
Yeah, I think so much of what you just said is spot on. The truth of the matter is, like, what happened here and what Mr. Ray focused on was the fact that there was just a violation of all of those tried and true corporate formalities and those necessary controls that we have and that we need to have. We didn't even have a full board over the whole FTX group. There are so many challenges with what happened here. I have talked to, I've seen high school bake sales that have been so much more strength in terms of what they put together and how they've managed the assets. We can't.
That's a serious thing. Now, I know it sounds funny and it's like it's a funny joke, but you know what she's saying, serious. It was, and this is all based on what John Ray, overseeing the collapse and bankruptcy, is sharing with us. So it's not speculative that we think this, right? It's like we're finding out real information, just like CNBC is still coming around to the notion that, I mean, we don't have all the facts. It's like, yeah, we got enough to know that criminal activity was going on there. That's what we have. That's exactly what we have. So as we move to the next topic, because we're going to shift gears here. But look, if FTX was successful, I think it's like Linda P. Jones had said. They were after PFOF, payment for order flow, and they almost did it. They almost had become successful in capturing every on and off ramp, basically. That was the goal, to be able to catch a toll for anybody coming in and out of this entire market. That's what they were after, and they almost did it. And I also believe that's why Kevin O'Leary was like, well, I'd invest in him again, because I think Kevin was aware of that and how close they were, and he didn't want to see it die on the vine this close to the finish line. That's what I believe. Right here, this is where we got to change gears, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to hear this because we have talked about the idea and understanding of Russia having huge oil and gas resources. Well, it's back in the news, ladies and gentlemen. Russia accepting gold for their oil because there's a fight over the cap on price. I want you to listen to this, and then we're going to look at some really incredible information. And I tell you, I think it's going to bring, and at least I hope that's the goal of today, is to bring a much broader perspective to why crypto regulation is so important. And it isn't just for crypto.
Something just sent shivers down the spines of Western leaders. With this one move, Putin could literally shift power overnight, and there are warning signs popping up all over that crap is about to hit the fan in a big way. Don't be distracted by Christmas. You need to be paying attention because, in fact, the World Economic Forum is now issuing a major warning for the United States.
History is truly at a turning point.
Yes, Klaus Schwab's WEF is warning the U.S. is in for a major recession. I've got a lot of important developments to get to and some stunning data to show you on this. Austrian economist Lawrence Leppert, all of the pieces are in place, he says. The system is so close to blowing a gasket. When it does, the global print-a-thon is going to change the world as we know it. You will either be in a position or you won't. Grab a chair before the music stops. Ouch. So as an example, it all started with a note from Credit Suisse contributor Zoltan Pozsar. Now, Pozsar, you'll recall, has been sounding the alarm about collapse of Western money structures that were put in place after World War II, better known.
Very quickly, we have covered Zoltan Pozsar multiple times on this channel for his incredible work. Keep listening.
As Bretton Woods. Now, he says the countries that have gold, oil, and other commodities will lead the world going forward. And we late this week issued a stunning alert about Putin, and his message has now gone viral. If Putin decides to flip the switch on the Western price cap on its oil by only accepting gold for oil, we would see the price of gold skyrocket to $3,600 an ounce. Basically saying, fine, hey, you want to put a price cap on our oil at $60? Fine. We just won't use dollars anymore. We will use gold. Now, Pozsar says this is not improbable at all. And then gold to double to $3,600 an ounce because of Putin's price move. Here's a Twitter take from David Brady that nails it. Gold to soar, crush Western banks when Putin unveils petro-gold. Russia's decision to link gold to oil could bring gold back as a settlement medium and increase its intrinsic value sharply. Banks active in the paper gold market would face a liquidity shortfall. Basically, if you don't have gold, you're screwed. In other words, financial Armageddon. Their only solution is to print money they don't have, and this would mean collapse. Or
let me stop it right there and shout out to Clayton Moore for that. That is an incredible, incredible clip from him. But how would they do that? Well, if you remember, it was about just under a year ago, we covered George Gammon. Shout out to him for this. And he gives us the idea of exactly how you could achieve that. Now, the numbers for price of oil were different almost a year ago. But the concept and understanding of how they would arbitrage oil for gold to push the price of gold up. And anyone who says that we are going back to a gold system acknowledges, whether it's Jim Rickards, myself, or anyone else, all acknowledge that gold would need to be a much higher price in order to support the fiat currencies of the world. Because remember, that's what the Fed didn't like about it, is that they were handcuffed to the amount of printing that they could do because of gold's price. But if gold is arbitraged by a country or two outside of the loop because of a war, maybe, then they could use that as an advantage to begin to push the price of gold up, selling their resources, oil and gas, accepting only gold. And I remind you, as you hear this information, let's understand now that Saudi Arabia has now agreed to use the yuan and not the US dollar anymore through the Shanghai Exchange for China. Things are moving in that direction, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look.
So the arbitrage opportunity would still be there, which would create more demand for gold until the price of gold got to a point where buying it to sell to Russia for oil wouldn't yield a profit. But it's not just the speculators who would want to get in on the game. Let's think about the oil producers themselves. So now we move over to speculator Said. He is producing all of this oil, but let's say that his cost to produce the oil is actually $10 a barrel. Well, if at the very beginning he can go into the gold market, buy gold for $2,000 an ounce, and sell that gold to Russia for 1,000 barrels of oil, that would make his production cost or cost to purchase at $2 a barrel, far under his cost to produce it himself.
Not to mention the fact that Russia would be accumulating gold for a resource that they have readily available to them that they could set at any price they want.
So he would be in the exact same boat as speculator Sanchez. He'd be buying as much gold as he possibly could until the price got above the level where he could produce the oil himself. So said another way, if he can produce for $10 a barrel, the price of gold would have to get above $10,000 an ounce before it would no longer make sense for him to buy it at a cheaper price than he could produce directly from Russia.
So literally you could see other producers of oil, he's giving the Middle East as an example here, decide to not produce oil and wholesale buy it through Russia, paying gold for it, driving the price of gold up to a very, very real new price before they even start pumping and producing it again, or at least offering it for sale. Not that they would truly stop. But, you know, this really is something of note here. We have watched many, many other countries, including Gaddafi, who tried to go back on the gold standard. God rest his soul. We shall see how this plays out. But if gold were to go to a really high price, it may very well be a gold-backed system that we move to, because make no mistake about it. Let me just very quickly here. Canada regulators ensure stricter regulation for crypto. Australia plans a framework crypto services provide regulation in 2023. You make no mistake about it. These regulations for crypto aren't just about crypto. These regulations are because CBDCs are coming. Highly regulated stablecoins are coming. The legacy firms and central banks and governments will not be made irrelevant. They will not lose power and control. That's what's going on. And then recently here in the United States, Representative Alex Mooney did this.
Madam Speaker, the United States is facing an inflation and debt crisis not seen in over 40 years. West Virginians have seen the value of their savings erode before their very eyes because of reckless tax and spend policies. We know who's responsible for the current inflation crisis, but what in our country's history has allowed us to get to this point? The answer can actually be traced back to 1971, when President Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. The gold standard means tying the dollar directly to the value of gold. Under the gold standard, any American would be able to trade their dollars for a fixed amount of gold. By linking the dollar to the value of gold, the money supply could only be increased if the supply of gold increases. This connection protects the purchasing power of your dollars. That is why I introduced legislation to return the United States to the gold standards.
And there you have that. All at the same time, this is all happening. So as perspective, when I see Canada, Australia, the US, the UK, Singapore, yes, there has to be a framework for crypto and digital assets. I get all of that. But the real reason for me that there has to be that regulatory framework is because these assets may be slightly different in how they operate and the utility of them. But the real reason there needs to be a framework for it is because the new monetary system is blockchain. It is distributed ledger technology. It is, in fact, digital assets. And I happen to believe XRP as well. When I look at things like this right here, Visa acquires Ripple partner Currency Cloud for $925 million. Well, they didn't buy a used car. That's a lot of money. It reminds me of the understanding that whether the world goes back on a monetary shift and a new gold-backed monetary system or not, the world is moving to new payment rails. That is a fact, Jack. And that's the reason Visa bought Currency Cloud. Take a listen to this very quickly.
PayPal or something, you're still going through your Visa cards.
Exactly. Visa's got their fingerprints on everything.
They sure do, including Ripple and Currency Cloud. I tell people all the time that cryptocurrencies is the worst nomenclature that could have ever been placed on these digital assets. Brian Brooks said it, and I agreed with him and took it because it's so spot on. To really understand the functionality of these digital assets, which is software, is to understand in my mind that what we're talking about is new, more secure, scalable payment networks. And the value that comes from the asset represented on those payment networks and software goes up with the more liquidity and utility that you can provide on its network. Because Ripple has positioned XRP as a payment solution, I think that's the best chance to win right there. And I also believe the introduction of CBDCs will see the return of a gold-backed system underneath of it, but maybe not until it's priced to a $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 or more an ounce. It's not financial advice. It's just my digital perspectives. What we're witnessing is much bigger than crypto. What we're witnessing is a brand new monetary system being ushered in. Before you get out of here, speaking of which, uncertain times call for brand new products like this to be released. It's Ledger Stacks, ladies and gentlemen. I pre-ordered mine. Did you pre-order yours? Don't mess around. This thing looks like an iPod. They finally figured out how to make this thing user-friendly, and I can't wait to get mine. Make sure you get yours. Link underneath the video for the best price, best specials, best deals for the best products around. Make sure you check them out and see if they're right for yourself. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.